Hello everyone, Shinto Bean here playing some more Warhammer combat cards. I'm in the card shop right now looking at yet another pay-to-win card. There's been quite a few of these lately, it seems, and I have not purchased any of them, but this is another one for the Eldari, the Drukhari Ravager. It's a big aircraft, lots of guns. That's the back of the card, of course it's high initiative, and it has Big Game Hunter for its trait. Now, considering the size of the model, it's actually not too expensive a card. 33 points. Has only a ranged attack. These are its stats at the max level. So, yeah, it's kind of similar. It's like a slightly cheaper version of the Orc Blastojet. And, of course, it would combine pretty well with the Zephyr Blade, who can increase its ranged damage output. I think currently there's only one other ranged Big Game Hunter in the Eldari roster, and that's the Fire Dragon. Well, honestly, I think the Fire Dragon it's a much cheaper option, and it's probably better than this card, because, again, Zephyr Blade can increase its ranged attack, so the Fire Dragon can deal a ton of damage. And Big Game Hunter is a pretty situational trait, so I don't think it's necessarily a good idea to invest tons of points into just one single Big Game Hunter. Anyway, that's in the shop should you want to purchase it. But for today's match, we are going to be playing as Necrons, and I recently upgraded all three of these legendaries to the next level, so let's take a look. We've got the Transcendent. This is now the most powerful card in my collection. Massive ranged attack, of course, but its melee is also really big as well. So, yeah, the thing just is insanely strong. Combined with this guy, the Overlord. Now, I haven't actually used this guy very much. I tend to go more with the ranged units with Necrons, and this guy's more of a melee guy, but he does have the Inspiring Presence, so he can boost up the power of my other guys, and he actually has pretty good stats for his cost, just 34 points. So we're going to be running him, and then we've got the Void Dragon, which I also recently got to level 5, where it got a big health boost. This thing, of course, also has really tons of damage output, especially against big game with the Big Game Hunter trait. So we're just running 3 bodyguards here, led by Nemazor Zandrek, who is at level 5. And of course, Zandrek's special rule can also increase the damage output of these guys, either the ranged or the melee, depending on his mood. So let's go ahead and deploy, and use this triple legendary combo. It is a deck that is capable of just blasting through the enemy very quickly. It's quite strong against both ranged and melee, because no matter what the enemy goes, they're going to be taking a lot of damage. And it's pretty good. I mean, it's good enough against Psychic too, because most Psychers just do not have the amount of damage to compete with these guys. So I don't know how it would do in the top tiers of ranked, but certainly at the lower levels, it does make for some pretty quick matches. Now we got hit by an outflank, so we'll get getting debuffed on the first turn here. Of course, it's also a very slow deck, so the enemy will take the first turn. Now, one thing you can actually do here with a deck of this size is you can actually deploy a Nemazor Zandrek on that first turn, and if they go for an attack, then Zandrek would immediately withdraw from the field, replaced by his personal bodyguard, Oberyn. So that's something fun you can do, although there's not really much point here. We're just going to go with our big 3, and go for the ranged attack, and that's just going to pretty much obliterate everything except for old Karnak on the side there. Would have been able to take him out, I think, had we not been debuffed on the first turn. Now they do have a pretty big melee attack charged up. There's a Skull Taker up against, so we're going to be taking a lot of damage here, but also hitting back very hard, and we'll easily be able to wipe these guys out next turn. Their final bodyguard will be deploying, and we'll see if it's a Bloodthirster or something of that size. Yep, sure enough, the Bloodthirster comes out. Alright, let's take a look at this guy. Level 4, so these are not, super high level. They really can't compete with this kind of damage. But the Bloodthirster, well, I mean, it actually, yeah, if they go for the melee attack, it will actually be able to take out the Overlord, but I don't think they can. Oh, maybe they can. We'll see with the Furious Charge. Skull Taker does do a lot of damage. Oh, they are going for it. Okay. Kind of surprising, actually. But yeah, Skull Tigger, okay, survives with 12 health. And then, without losing a single unit, we can finish the game here. You can see here, whether we go ranged or melee, dealing huge amounts of damage. And that is game over for Skull Tigger. So yeah, Necrons went from being one of my lowest ranked factions last season to they're up at the top right now. I can take a look at the factions here. And I have not come close to losing any battles yet. I mean, it's still pretty early in the season, so that's to be expected. Here, we'll do one more and see if there's something that can give us a bit of a challenge here. I think maybe one thing that this deck could potentially struggle with is like Space Marine shield spam, especially if they have a bunch of Psychers or something. Now this is a pretty small force that we are up against, and level 6 Farsight, that's a decent level. We'll see what kind of bodyguards they're bringing here. They don't have any Psychers, of course, so we don't have to worry about that. Broadside Battlesuit, am I going to be able to take that out in one turn? And for most of these battles, I've just been going purely ranged, but against Tau, it would probably make more sense to run, to use the melee attacks and counter with the ranged. I do have target acquired. That is another way to take these guys down. And actually, yeah, if they go for the ranged attack, they are probably going to shoot that guy down. Perhaps in one turn, the Overlord. Let's see, but we do actually have enough damage with the ranged. Perhaps to wipe the board, I think, because we're getting boosted. Yep, Zondrake is boosting the ranged attack. So you know what? We're just going to go for the ranged attack on this first turn, see if we can destroy everything. 151 damage and 53 to the sides, just from the Transcendence. So there it is. Boom, everything is dead on the first turn, and then the Warlord is deploying on turn 2. They got a Riptide on the field. Okay, so will they be able to take out the Overlord this turn? They got their melee boost. Oh yeah, definitely, if they go melee, which they are. That's a lot of damage from Farsight. So they did actually manage to take down one guy. The Void Dragon, though, has Big Game Hunter, so it hits back really hard. And then, yeah, it's not too often that I actually have to deploy Zondrake, but he is coming to the field. But then we can easily just finish the game with a ranged or melee attack. Yeah, plenty of damage there, so I'll just go ranged. And game over for the Tau. Very fast game. So, if you have the cards at this level, it is pretty fun. It kind of renders almost all the other cards in the Necron arsenal obsolete, you know, when you have cards like this. There's really not much point in playing anything else. I do apologize if anyone has to face this deck in ranked. It would be pretty difficult to face, I think. I really don't like playing against decks like this that have just, you know, like 3 bodyguards, because they hardly... even if you win, you hardly get any skulls, you know, for the kill pack. And it's just really difficult to actually get through. Especially with Zondrake, since he can, you know, disappear and then come back again. So, most of the decks I have run more bodyguards. This is pretty much the only deck of this size that I'm using, I think. But it's just a fun one, and I wanted to show you. So, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.